And we are finally live. Now, if you're one of those people who's a little tech challenged, like I was about 30 minutes ago, I thought I was live. It turns out I was actually just talking to my computer screen for a good 10 minutes or so. But anyway, minis, I don't know if these are official mini photos or not. I was in California when apparently this car was being photographed in Los Angeles. So this is the 2025 Mini Cooper Electric. This is the E and SE variant. This car is chassis code J01. It is co-developed with Great Wall Motors in China. It is based off of loosely the Aura Cat, which is one of their best-selling electric vehicles. The range is different. This one has a range of about 200 miles on the E and about 240 miles on the SE. Also slightly different horsepowers. You're going to get 181 on the E and you're going to get 215 on the SE. The vehicle is currently going to be built by Great Wall Motors in China. Now, here's the thing. Yes, the car is not coming to the U.S. right away. It will eventually. The reason why it's not coming to the U.S. right away is because the United States has a 25% tariff on goods imported from China, and unfortunately, that includes vehicles. So even vehicles that are built in China for U.S. automakers like the Buick Envision are subject to a 25% tariff. I don't necessarily know how they get away with it, but they're able to make that one work and still sell it in the US. But we will not be getting them in the US just yet. We will be getting them around 2027, which is about 2 or 3 years shy of when they officially switch over to full electric vehicles. The reason why is they're going to retool Plant Oxford to allow the construction of these vehicles, along with the J02 Mini Aceman, which is also being developed in China as well. The vehicles are going to be full electric vehicles. Obviously, Mini's going full electric. So we are getting a little bit of a preview of what's to come and what we will eventually get in the United States market. The reason that we're waiting, partly from the tariff, is the other thing is they are retooling the plant, which is also why they discontinued the Mini Clubman. They need the space in order to start the retooling process. They are also bringing the Mini convertible over to the Oxford plant as they are ending production at VDL Nedcar when they begin building the new Mini Countryman in Germany. We will be getting, however, the new electric Mini Countryman. And it's from what I heard, it's going to be called Countryman this time and not Cooper Countryman. So there'll be less confusion on model names potentially. So we are going to be getting that. I don't know the range currently on that vehicle. I think it's going to be somewhere between 250 and 300 miles of range, which for a small crossover vehicle is pretty decent mileage. Horsepower-wise, I think we're probably looking at around 250 to 300 as well. But we're here to talk about this car. This is the new Mini Cooper Electric. And yes, it is a very dramatic looking vehicle. It's a very dramatic departure from the current design language that Mini has been employing for such a long time. But I want to also thank motoringfile.com for providing the article that they wrote about the car along with these fantastic pictures. I don't know where I can get these pictures. I have a feeling that only certain media and journal websites can get these photos, so I don't have access to them yet. But as soon as I do, I'm going to be doing a video on this car a little bit more in depth. But today we're doing a live stream. So this is the new Mini Electric, and overall, I'm impressed with this car. This blue color is one of the new colors that Mini is going to be offering for these vehicles. I heard they're going to be offering quite a few new colors for the Mini brand, especially with the redesign of the vehicles. So this is one of those new colors. Aesthetically, it is a very different car, but at the same time, it's still unmistakably a Mini in my point of view. Yes, we have departed from the plastic wheel arches on this vehicle, and it does look different. It definitely looks a little strange not seeing plastic wheel arches on this car, but there are reasons for that. It's to make the car more modern, make the car more slick, and this is why they did it. You'll also notice that we have a conventional bonnet as opposed to the clamshell that we've been known to have for a very long time. So that is another departure. The headlights are different. The whole grille is different. The nose is even shorter. The wheels are pretty cool looking. Those look like they are a variant of the Untold Edition Mini Clubman wheels. So another nice little feature on that vehicle as well. Overall design aesthetics are pretty nice. Yes, that tail end looks different, and I know a lot of people hate it. I think there's a reason for it to look that way, and I have seen a variation that looked like it had a Union Jack on the taillights. I think what this is a matrix-style LED taillight that possibly is going to allow some changes. So for certain markets, you might see a taillight that looks like that. For other markets, you might see a Union Jack. Or I could be completely wrong, and this is exactly what it's going to look like in the U.S. market. It has California plates, so I have a feeling this must be I wish it was a US spec. It probably isn't, but it'd be funny if it was. So there's this modern, brand new Mini driving around California with California plates, and apparently it's trying to blend in, and I don't know how it's able to do that. So obviously it's doing something right. But overall aesthetic, it's definitely unmistakably a Mini in my point of view. And one of the things I'm curious about is that new interior in there. If you look closely, you can see there's definitely some JCW style seats, in my opinion, really slick looking. You'll also notice there is no chrome belt line on this car. There is a black line that looks like a chrome belt line, but there's no belt line. There's also recessed door handles. It's a very different looking car, but they did promise that they were going to shorten the front or the overhangs of the vehicle. And they accomplished that. This is definitely a shorter looking, more blunted nose looking Mini Cooper. They also raked the windshield back a little bit further, which for aerodynamic purposes and fuel efficiency is probably a smart move. The sunroof doesn't look like it's actually a functional sunroof. It looks like it's a glass panel this time around. The overall look of the car is different, but like I said, unmistakably a Mini Cooper. I want to hear what you all think of this car, because there are some definite differences to the new vehicle, between the new vehicle and the old one, and there's definitely some polarizing changes to the new cars. Now, what we don't know is necessarily what the F66 is going to look like, which is the complete redesign of the UKL1 car using the current Mini. It's going to look a little bit different, and it's going to also, the new gas Mini will also have some styling that evokes this car. So we are going to see some styling changes on the new cars. I don't know necessarily what that next generation is going to look like. I'm sure it'll look pretty good as well. But seeing the car in the flesh in a better color other than white, because the last one we saw when it was leaked was in white, this one being in a more dramatic color makes the car just look a little bit better. Now, I don't know if they're going to be departing from the plastic wheel arches on the F66. I do know that the rear end of this car and the front end are going to look very similar to the F66 as well. But that remains to be seen what exactly it's going to look like until they actually unveil the car or someone leaks the photo, which has been happening quite frequently lately. So that's a possibility as well. Dimensions of the vehicle. We are looking at a length of about 151.91 inches. We're looking at a height of 56.49, and we are looking at a wheelbase of 99.4. So the wheelbase has lengthened. The overall body length has actually lengthened just slightly, almost a half an inch. And it looks like the height of the vehicle has also gotten taller. So they've changed these dimensions, obviously, to make the vehicle a little bit different. It is about, from what I've been told, it looks like it's 1.5 inches longer in wheelbase than the previous car. So that is a different change. That basically means that the car, while looking smaller, is bigger. So I don't know how they were able to pull that one off, but they can do all sorts of crazy stuff with small cars these days. It looks like the rear end of this car is going to look pretty good too. The aesthetic is very nice. Everything looks good. It looks like they have bigger wheels and tires on it now too, which is an interesting change of pace. So as far as production goes, we're looking at this car is going to start production May of 2024 is the projected start. And that's for the Cooper E and Cooper SE. As far as the JCW variant, that's not been determined just yet. Like I said, we're not getting this car in the US until about 2027 when it will be made in the UK. However, if there's some change in the tariffs that are currently involved with between the US and China, we might see the car sooner. So you never know at this point. But it'll be an interesting car. Now, some people think this car is a Chinese-designed Mini. It is not. It was co-developed with Great Wall Motors, but the Mini designers designed this car, while the Great Wall Motors folks designed the Oracat. So this is a Mini. This is designed by Mini, and it was not a Chinese-designed car like a lot of people want to claim. It's definitely a British car. Now, one of the things I happen to love about this vehicle is I do actually like those new taillights. I do think they look pretty interesting, but I mean, that's a personal opinion. But overall, I think they look pretty cool with the matrix look to them. The overall, like I said, the overall aesthetic of the car is very different. So what do you all have to say about this car? I'm going to go in here and look at some comments because I know some of you all have been posting. I am going to post this just because I want to. So I'm putting you on blast, Jackson. The Miniac said my name. OMG. Yeah, Jackson's one of the guys who works with the Mini JCW team. So I've chatted with him quite frequently, and we've worked together at the recent race in Sonoma. So, hi Jackson, how are you? So Barry Clark has come in here. I'm looking into getting a 2020, 2022 Clubman JCW someday. It's not the Cooper SE, but it's more room. Okay. Or it's more me, more room too. People have been talking in the chats about the current Mini Electric, which has a pretty decent 50-50 weight distribution, which makes it a really fun to drive car. Now, you might have to get a little bit used to driving a one-pedal electric vehicle, which can be kind of unnerving at times, but it's not that terrible. It's actually not that bad. Let me see here. Overall, lots of different comments. So hopefully you will talk about if this is going to be, yeah, I mentioned that, sold in the U.S. Are they still talking about making it in the Oxford plant? Now, Kent, yes, they are going to make it in the Oxford plant later. By 2027, they will be making it the Oxford plant. Motoring File seems to be the only ones that have correct information. Motoring File tends to get their information pretty good. I don't think they've ever really been wrong before. I know that they get their information. I don't know who their sources are, but I know they're pretty good. And I've even used them as reference for some of my YouTube videos just because they're a good source of information when I can't find that information myself. So not a bad setup there. VG Ace said, all I see coming out EV-wise are oversized SUVs like the Kia EV9 and F-150 Lightning. Other than the Fiat 500e, there are no other compact cars I see coming out. This is true. Compact cars seem to be going by the wayside at times. And what's weird is the larger the vehicle, the more room they have for batteries. But strangely enough, the larger the vehicle, the more room they have for batteries, the heavier the vehicle gets, weirdly, the more dangerous the vehicle gets. And not from a battery standpoint, from a weight standpoint. The Hummer, the GMC Hummer, for example, is about 10,000 pounds, I heard. And if it hit another car, it's basically dangerous. The GMC Hummer is actually a dangerous vehicle from my point of view and from what I've read online. It's not a great vehicle. It's a great vehicle if you're in it, but if you get hit by it, I wouldn't want to. But anyway, I'm not a fan of the large EVs, but that being said, the larger the EV is, typically the more room they have for batteries, so they can have a longer range, higher horsepower, and so forth. Smaller cars tend to have less room for batteries, which means you're going to have a lesser range. Barry Clark says, I enjoy the new look. I enjoy the new look as well. And VGA said they have said they have inside sources when I asked them. This is true. I do know they have inside sources. I have a few inside sources myself. Unfortunately, none of them have actually mentioned this particular car. They did mention they've seen what it looks like. They've also mentioned they've seen what some of the other new minis are going to look like, but not this particular one. This was a different story. Now, Kent says, so will there be no electric Mini Coopers in the U.S. for a couple of years? No, that is not true. Electric Mini hardtop production ends after 2023, after the year 2023. The Mini Countryman electric will be sold in the United States because it's being built in Germany. So we will be getting another electric Mini. It will be the new electric Mini Countryman. Now, range-wise, I'm thinking it's going to probably have a 250 to 300-mile range, give or take. I'm just guessing. It's a larger vehicle, so there's probably more room to increase the battery range. Horsepower-wise, we're looking at probably somewhere around 250 to 300, I think, horsepower. I did hear that they might have almost 400 horsepower for the JCW Countryman, the new one, when it comes out eventually. So that's going to be insane. So we should assume that the electric Countryman will probably be around 300 horsepower, give or take, which is pretty good for a small crossover. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they come up with. I've seen some test vehicles so far for the new Countryman, and I'm curious to see a little bit more. I know it's a very different departure aesthetically from the current Minis. So kind of curious to see exactly what they're going to come up with, or what they have come up with, because they obviously have designed the car. So we're going to see that as they unveil it more. We are unfortunately also seeing the departure of the Mini Clubman, which after two generations of modern generations, as I say, people act like mention that the Clubman had a first generation, which was actually the Traveler, not the Clubman. Although there was a first Clubman, but it wasn't an extended wagon version. It was a squared off nose vehicle. So not the same, not technically the same thing, but I guess technically they have had three generations of Clubman. But yeah, the Clubman is going away. It's basically being replaced by the Aceman, which is a new small electric crossover, which is it's chassis code J02. And I'm not sure when that one will, I think that one will be coming to the US around the same time that the electric does eventually come to the US. So we'll be seeing 2 new electric minis at that point. So then at that point, Countryman, Aceman, and Hardtop, there'll be 3 electric minis. And a few years later, we'll see the official end of gas or internal combustion Mini Coopers, brand new Mini Cooper. So there's very little time left to get a internal combustion Mini. But as far as the electric ones that people are waiting for, 2027 is only about 4 years away. So it's not that far away from now to when we can actually have one of these vehicles in the United States. So we don't have that much time to sit around and wait. So it'll be nice. Now, Ken says, I wonder how this all will affect the value of the current Mini Cooper SEs. I'm thinking it may have a positive effect. It's possible. It may increase the value of those vehicles. It could, well, given the fact that there's going to be the electric Countryman coming out, it could possibly mean that the electric Countryman is going to be more popular because it's a larger vehicle. So people might be trading in their electric hardtops for an electric Countryman. So there's a possibility there. The range on the Cooper SE, current Cooper SE, means it's going to be a small vehicle that's more of a city car. This one, the new one, seems to be still a city car, but at the same time, more likely you could take this on a slightly longer trip, or a much longer trip, I should say, and not worry about running out of range. So that'll be a nice thing when this car finally comes to the US market. VGA says they also mentioned that the Mini Cooper SE JCW in that motoring file article. That would be cool if they released that same battery, but more power from the motor, so less range. That's fine with me. Yeah, it will be less range if they increase the horsepower. Now, they could increase the batteries if they make it a GP3 and make it only a 2-seater. So then there's more room in the trunk that they can put more batteries back there. But I don't know if they're going to do that. It will be different. It'll be interesting to see exactly what they come up with. But they are not, as far as I know, there's no plans for an electric JCW at this time. But there will be at some point. So we are waiting to see exactly what they come up with. But it's going to be interesting. Yeah, an electric JCW would be pretty cool, I think. That's kind of why I was really hoping when they launched the Mini Pace Setter, that pace car for Formula E, I really wanted to see them put that car into production. I thought that would have been so cool. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So instead, we're kind of sitting here wondering what might have been. That being said, there is a racing team that races electric minis that look like JCWs over in Europe. I think they're called Next Gen Racing. I want to say they're Next Gen Racing. But they are racing electric mini JCWs, basically, or GPs. They have the GP wheels on them, they have the GP body kit, and they're basically race cars, electric race cars. So they look pretty cool. So there is that possibility. But a Mini Pace Setter electric, at least if they had launched like the side spats and everything, I thought that design looked a lot better to me than the regular GP3. So that would have been pretty cool if they got it. And now Kent says, your next trip. My next trip to where? So I don't know yet. What is my next trip? Oh, unless he's talking about my next trip, which is to New Orleans at the end of this month. So yes, I do have another trip coming up, another racing team trip. If you all are currently watching the videos I posted for the start of the Sonoma races that I went to, I have more videos coming. I have another video coming on Friday, and I have more videos coming next week. Once I am out of the actual race weekend videos, the videos you'll be seeing after that will be all in-car videos from car number 60, driven by Clay Williams, and car number 37, driven by Christian Pericarpi. So you're going to be seeing some in-car footage. Now, I don't currently have race 1 and race 2 from Christian's car, but I will have that hopefully by end of the month, assuming I get the SD cards back from SRO. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. You never know. Cool. And to Europe to see the team racing the electric one. Oh, yeah. That would be an interesting trip, I think. Redo the Mini Coupe. Yeah, I'd love to see Mini redo the Mini Coupe. I don't see it happening, though. I don't think Mini's going to be bringing the Mini Coupe back. I think that was a one-time thing, and Weirdly, it didn't sell very well. I'm a little surprised. It was a cool looking car, but it just didn't sell very well. So unfortunately, that's just what happens with certain low production, limited run cars. I guess they just don't, styling wise, they say don't do that well. I think part of the issue was the backwards baseball cap look that people love to complain about. They just didn't like the fact that it looked like it had a baseball cap on backwards, or they thought it was a hardtop convertible. I happen to think it was a good vehicle. The blind spots, on the other hand, in that car were a little annoying, but otherwise it wasn't a terrible car. VGA says, I like the look of the coupe. Yeah, maybe they should build an electric Mini Coupe. That'd be kind of cool. So at least we're getting a hardtop. We're going to be getting an electric hardtop at some point. So there is that. So that's a plus, at least. I'm happy about that. At least we're going to get something, because it'd be nice. So I'm showing you a side photo of the car, courtesy of Motoring File. And what are your thoughts on this? What do you think of this new design for the electric Mini? And this also is kind of a preview of what we're going to see, some of the styling on the new F66 Mini Cooper when it eventually gets released. Do you think the styling looks pretty good? Do you think it looks like a Mini? Do you think it doesn't look like a Mini? Do you think Mini is crazy for the design? I happen to think it's pretty cool looking, but I mean, there are people out there who are not going to like it. It is different. I mean, for one thing, the side indicators are actually on the wing mirrors versus on the wings for a change, which is a different thing. Yes, I'm using the term wings because Americans use the term fenders, and while I am an American, I know that British people would look at me funny if I didn't refer to these cars correctly. So I apologize if I ever say anything other than bonnet when referring to a hood. But anyway, VGA said, I like the look, but I'm new to Mini. I don't really care for chrome on cars. And Mini is known for, a lot of the current Minis are known for their chrome trim. People love the chrome trim on their cars. I don't know why, but they do. Brendan says, what's the range? The Cooper E will have a range of about 200 miles, the new Cooper E. The Cooper SE will have a range of about 240, compared to the current Mini Cooper SE's range of about 110 to 120. That's a significant improvement. That's pretty much double for the new Cooper SE compared to the current car. So we've doubled the range on the car, and that means we can also double our traveling distance to some degree as well. So there's that. That is a big plus. This is definitely a much improved electric car. Now, I don't yet know the range on the Mini Countryman electric, but I'm guessing probably 250 to 300 range on that vehicle, which is pretty comparable for a small electric crossover and a small electric car in general. So we are going to be seeing some increased range on these electric cars. Obviously, I heard a rumor that that BMW in general is working on something like solid state batteries, I believe, for these cars, as opposed to the current lithium ion technology. So we might see increased range even then. Usually the way technology works is if you want to get more range out of a battery, the technology evolves to make the battery smaller. And in that process, you get more power output out of that battery. So there'll come a day potentially where we might have 300-400 miles of range out of the little Mini Cooper hardtop. It could potentially happen. I don't know when, but it might happen. It might happen by 2027, because that's actually the year that they would probably be doing a facelift, a life cycle impulse or LCI thing with the car. So at that point, we probably would see maybe an increase in range as well. So you never know. When do we find out how it drives? I imagine sometime later this summer, they're going to do some announcements on that, and we'll probably see more people talking about it. So we have time to wait until then, but I think it's going to probably drive pretty similar to the current electric Mini to some degree. Obviously, it's a new car, so it's going to drive a little bit different. Am I going to buy one? My car will be paid off if it survives, will be paid off by 2029. So I could end up buying an electric Mini by then. You never know. Or I may turn around and go buy a JCW Clubman, just because I've always wanted one. And I like the idea of 301 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 4.6 seconds. So not that I'll ever drive it that fast, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, What else is there going on? Let's see here. VGAs. I got a lot of people talk about electric minis or electric cars right now. I think as more people start buying EVs, then they will realize that range is not as important. Most people drive less than 30 minutes a day, 30 miles a day. But yeah, solid state batteries are a very cool technology. And one of the things I agree with on solid state in general is I like solid state hard drives. My computer has a solid state drive. I think it's more reliable and less likely to cause issues, which is why my external drives that I carry around to the races and everything, or when I do use my computer, those are all solid states because they are less likely to break, basically. So I like solid state. That also means you can put a little bit more on a solid state. So I think a solid state battery in these cars would probably be a good thing, meaning smaller battery technology, you can also put more range in the battery potentially. So there is that. So I'm curious what other people have to say about this, and I'm also going to open up to any other questions you might want to have. If you have anything related to the electric Mini, feel free to speak up. If you have anything completely unrelated to the Mini, let me know. If you notice that I have a Indy fight or the Mini Cooper race or the touring car race at Indy in the background of my live stream, that's only because I typically do my live streams with the Mini JCW team, and I happen to not have time to change the background on here, and we are going to be doing another live stream soon, and I'm currently working on some details on that you're going to be pretty surprised about as well. So VGA solid state batteries are more energy dense. There you go. And they are not flammable like lithium ion batteries. This is true. So there's that. Lowell Polo, how do you feel about the Clubman going away? I am disappointed in that. I think the Clubman was an amazing car. Personally, I would have loved to have seen the F54 Clubman, the all-wheel drive car. I would have loved to have seen that as like a touring car, race car. I think that would have been really incredible. Unfortunately, BMW did not want that vehicle to be made into a race car. They considered it a luxury premium car and wanted it to be treated like a gentleman's car, like the BMW 7 Series, except I don't think they realized that it's a Mini, not a BMW. And Minis are meant to have fun. And if you're going to make it a gentleman's luxury car and not make it fun and not make it a race car kind of thing, why put a 301 horsepower engine in it, all-wheel drive, and a 0 to 60 of 4.6 seconds? Just out of curiosity. I'm just really curious how they managed to get away with that and then say, oh, you can't take it racing. But I think it would have been a pretty impressive race car. Unfortunately, we never got to see that. If I ever get a chance to have the money to do it, I potentially might buy a JCW Clubman and make it a race car. It just might be pretty fun to do it, just to see what happens. So anyway, Mark Rhodes says, good morning, Miniac. Do you have images of the new inside pictures and costs for the UK? I have no clue on the costs. I have not seen any inside pictures. If you look at the photo I currently have there, though, the seats look fantastic, to be honest. These look like JCW seats almost. So there is that. Now, what I'm trying to figure out, oh, interesting. I just noticed something. Oh, here we go. There's something I didn't see until now. Look at the dashboard inside of there. See the little P? This one has an automatic, obviously. That's the new center screen. So we're getting a little bit of an idea of what's gonna look like inside. Oh, there we go. I guess I do have some interior images here, more than I thought I did. So yeah, that's interesting. And you can get kind of a closer detail of the dash from the front of the car too if I go to this tab. So that's interesting as well. Let me see if I have another photo that might show me a little bit more. Where can I get another photo? Oh, that one has sun glare. That's not going to do me any good. All right, well, we do have a little bit of an idea of what the interior is going to look like. So there we go. We got some interior photos of the car. We can see that circular disc there. I don't know where the speedometer is. It could be in the center screen or it could be projected on the windshield, one way or another. I'm going to be curious to see how that works. So let's go back to the comments. Let's see, where are we? Daryl Curry. I placed a deposit today with Mini USA for a 2024 Cooper. Where is that going to be made? The 2024 Cooper internal combustion engine car is still made in Oxford, and it will still be an F56. 2024 models are currently coming out, and they are currently the same generation because 2025 model year is roughly when we're supposed to see the complete redesign of the car, I think. It might be 2026 at this point. I really don't know. I do know 2024s are currently coming out. The only 2024 I believe is not currently coming out, I think, is the Countryman. And I think I could be completely wrong on that, obviously. So there's a chance. That was for the electric Cooper. Yeah, you can still get F56 electric minis currently for this in 2023. They will discontinue them after the 2023 year. So I believe 2024 model years are the last model years for the electric mini, assuming you're in the US market. 2024 is the last model year. If you're in Europe, 2023, obviously. Big round center screen. Yep, the big round center screen. Andrew Nelson kind of reminds me of the first gens. That's what I think they were trying to go for. So good. It reminds you of the first gens. Perfect. I thought I read that there will not be a in steering wheel dash display. There will be a center display and a head-up display, but that may change. That's a possibility, a head-up display and a center screen. So it'll be like driving a Tesla to some degree, I guess, with the way the dash is going to look. Could be interesting. Could be annoying one way or another. We'll find out soon enough. Now check the website for USA. I remember seeing that too. What's the difference between the Mini Cooper 2023 and 2024? Currently, absolutely nothing. They are currently going to be the same vehicle. Well, US market, we are currently heading into 2024 model year. Yes, I know it's kind of weird. Why are we going to 2024 model year when it's 2023? But US market does weird things. We had 2023s last year. I bought a 2022 beginning of last year, which was actually built in 2021. So figure that one out. That's just the way they do it in the US market. So 2023 and 2024 model years are basically identical, except for the full redesign cars. These redesign cars are obviously completely different. So there's that. I am out of stuff to talk about here, really, but tune in Thursday, actually, and I'm not sure where we're going to be doing the live stream yet. There's two possibilities. We are either doing the live stream with the Mini JCW team on my channel, or we're going to be doing it on their channel, or we might be doing it on both channels. So I haven't figured out how I'm going to make that work yet. I'm still trying to figure out if I can make it work. So we'll know soon enough. I might try to do a little test later, see if I can make it work, but we'll figure it out. So I'm going to go back to answering questions here, though. Now Kent says, on the electrics, they brought back adaptive cruise control. Oh, I didn't know adaptive cruise control had actually left, to be honest. And I think on other models. Yep. Yeah, I didn't know they discontinued adaptive cruise control on the electrics. That seems a little like a strange thing to do on those cars. So could be interesting. I don't know what else is coming out for the Mini brand right now. They did launch the final edition Clubman, which is a limited run. There's only going to be about 100 coming to the US, and they are an order vehicle. So unless I want to put a $500 deposit down on the new car, I'm not going to get to review one, unfortunately. So that's the unfortunate thing about some of these special editions. The only reason here's the fun story. I put a deposit down on my 60th anniversary edition because I wanted to make sure I had one that I could review on my YouTube channel. Ended up buying it, and the car that I actually reviewed was someone else's car on my YouTube channel. So kind of funny how that works. I ordered a vehicle not intending to actually buy it, and I end up buying it, but that's another story. Also, heated steering wheels came back recently to electric. Oh, that's good. So the heated steering wheel is back. I have the heated steering wheel in my car, and while I could take it or leave it, I do kind of like it on warm days. That would be odd. I do kind of like it on cold days, so that's kind of a fun thing to have. My Roadster has a leather dash. Have you ever seen that before? I thought all of the Minis had leather dashes, to be honest. So, yes, I have seen that before, but I believe all of them had a leather dash as far as I know. Unless it's a vinyl. No, it has to be leather. Might be. I know that the new steering wheels are Nappa leather, which is a much softer leather. Problem with Nappa leather, it's a soft leather, scrapes very easily. So there's a problem. There might be a problem there. Basically, don't get in your car with a zipper pocket with the zipper down to where it could scratch the wheel. Also, don't put any sharp riveted jeans when you're getting into the car pocket first. I've scratched even rate even previous leather steering wheels like that. So don't recommend it. Really don't. So anyway, we're at 34 minutes and 55 seconds. I've had probably a lot of people watching this, which is pretty good for a live stream that I was supposed to start at 6:30 and didn't realize that I had never hit the go live button. Probably a good thing, because otherwise the dog would have been barking, the doorbell would have gone off, and it would have just looked really unprofessional. So why am I telling you all about this? Just because I felt like it. But I'm going to keep reading one more questions. For a first-time Mini owner, would you recommend a Clubman or a Countryman? If you're going with the 3rd gen Mini, the F generation, I would probably recommend, depends on what you want. If you want more cargo space, if you want more usable floor space, probably go with the Clubman. More of a car-like driving experience. If you want more of the crossover, a little bit more headroom, I would probably go with the Countryman. But either one, you're going to be fine with either one. They're both good vehicles. Me personally, I like the Clubman. I have driven quite a few Countrymans, though, to find that they're a very fun vehicle as well. And if you find a Countryman with a manual transmission, they are really interesting to drive. It's a weird seating position when you're sitting almost upright and you're shifting a manual transmission in a crossover. That's a really weird experience, but otherwise, it's not terrible. So really, it doesn't matter which one. They're both good vehicles. Me personally, I'd probably go with the Clubman just because I like the Clubman. If you have a thing against station wagons, because it is a wagon, it's not a station wagon, but it is a wagon. If you have a thing against wagons, then obviously go for the Countryman. But I personally think the Clubman's a great vehicle. VG Ace, thank you for doing the live stream and supporting all things Mini. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Now Ken says, thank you much, Miniac. Lowell Polo, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it Lowell Polo. You're doing a great job. I appreciate that. And Ken just said laugh out loud. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed watching this live stream. I just want to give a shout out again to Motoring File for these awesome pictures they got in this article on the vehicle. Go check out their website. They have a lot of information on the Mini generations, including previous generations. Just a great site to go to and take a look. And one of my sponsors of the channel, outmotoring.com, they have a lot of cool accessories and parts. So as they say on White Riff Radio, Mini performance, speed, and clamp-on cup holders, I think. Or aftermarket grill or aftermarket grills. You never know. Outmotoring.com. So we got that. Motoringstripes.com, another one of my sponsors on the channel. Use codes on the Outmotoring. Use code Miniac5, and you'll get a discount of 5% off. If you use code Miniac on Motoring Stripes, you'll get a 5% off discount as well. Motoring Stripes makes grill badges. They also make all the vinyl. They do all the vinyl on my car. In fact, I'm getting a new vinyl job done on my car pretty soon. So we're going to have a very interesting look on my car pretty soon. That's going to be a very dramatic departure from what I'm used to doing. I'm a little nervous about it, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. If you want to check on the latest news from Mini USA, go to miniusanews.com. And if you want to check out the latest on the Mini JCW race team, including when the next race is, you want to go to minijcwteam.com. They have their entire schedule for the season, lots of information, and they're updating their website. So there's going to be more information in the coming weeks and months. Also, continue to watch Miniac, or continue to watch Mini JCW team stuff or content on the Miniac. I have a lot more coming, and we are planning a shift for the live streams for the Mini JCW team. We're going to be shifting them over to the team's website or to the team's YouTube channel probably. So I'm trying to see if we can do it on both channels, but if I can't, we are probably shifting them over to that channel. So if you want to support or continue to support the live streams, continue to support us, definitely continue to watch the live streams. When we do the live streams with the teams, go to the Mini JCW team's YouTube channel and go and support them. They are a fantastic racing team, and I really want to see their channel grow as well, because they deserve it. They work really hard. They get the cars ready for those races. The technicians that were at the race in Sonoma went above and beyond to get car 64. Was it 64? Yeah, to get car 64 rebuilt after the practice or after testing, so that they could race, so that Elaine could race that car. So we'll have more to talk about that in the coming at the live stream with the racing team. So stay tuned for that. I got a few more comments here. Do the barn doors. Clubman is the way to go. Yep. Yep. All right. Anyway, I'm going to leave it off here. We have about 40 minutes. We got about 40 minutes into this, 28 people watching, but thank you for watching. And as always, life is too short to drive a boring car. So drive a Mini. Obviously, drive a Mini. I can't think of any other vehicle. Actually, that's not true, but I'm not going to say another brand on this channel. I can think of another vehicle that I think would be pretty fun, but Minis are fantastic cars. So as always, life is too short to drive a boring car. So drive a Mini. Check out more content on this channel at the end of this video or at the end of all my other videos. And I will see you next time.